Let me be clear about where we stand. First of all, for the American press who are here, I will also say that this is an issue that we consider, and I consider, to be a human rights issue, and that will not change.
It is our hope, our prayer, and belief that President Akufo-addo will be a man of his words and stick to the words he spoke to the Anglican Church in the Eastern region when he said, under his watch, LGBTQ will not be established.
The UN rejects Ghana law? Well, last time I checked, Ghanaians sit in the parliament and make their laws for Ghana, not the UN. Ladies and gentlemen, it's fire. Ghana went and did it. They just went off and did it, whether the UN liked it or not. And you're going to hear some responses from Kamala Harris of the United States, like that matters. Sam Nardi-George of Ghana, that does matter. The UN, that doesn't matter. CNN, ABC, Amnesty International, Africa News, EFF, I don't know. They're South Africa, they're not Ghana, so don't matter. All those, well, I'll show you a little bit about them, but they don't matter. The only thing that matters, Ghana stood up to the world. Check this out, how Ghana just said, you're not changing us. Nope. And like and subscribe while you're here, please.
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, on behalf of the minority caucus in Parliament, we want to thank you once again. We met you about 3 weeks ago to express our gratitude to you as the media for walking this journey with us. It's been 3 years since this bill was conceptualized. It was in February 2021 that a statement was read on the floor of the House, and we said we were bringing a bill to deal with the menace of the advocacy of LGBTQ activities in Ghana.
I'm going to chime in real quick, ladies and gentlemen. He said 3 years ago, the LGBTQ advocacies, the way that they were pushing LGBTQ on Ghana, we had to do something about it. Remember, Museveni did something about it. And this is when Africa changed. Remember, this is when Africa just said enough is enough. This is one of the big reasons Africa went through the revolution that they did in the last 3 years was the Biden-Kamala Harris administration. Let me remember, it was the Kamala Harris visit that started this all when Museveni said, gotta go, you gotta go. Sam George said, we ain't having this, you gotta go and take your LGBTQ with you because it's not part of Africa. Kamala Harris had just come up and said yesterday, let me show you that real quick and then we'll get into Sam Nardi-George again. But here's what Kamala had to say about this new law that Ghana has just enacted or has just passed through Parliament before they get to the president. They need the president to sign it. But here's what Kamala Harris just stated about the issue.
Let me be clear about where we stand. First of all, for the American press who are here, you know that a great deal of work in my career has been to address human rights issues, equality issues across the board, including as it relates to the LGBT community. And I feel very strongly about the importance of supporting the freedom and supporting and fighting for equality among all people, and that all people be treated equally. I will also say that this is an issue that we consider, and I consider, to be a human rights issue, and that will not change.
So there she is reflecting on how this is a human rights issue. And ladies and gentlemen, even the Americans get sick to their stomach when they hear other Americans trying to tell Africa about human rights. Even Sam George had once said it. It's the most hypocritical thing that the Americans do is try to tell Africa what human rights are. Come on, really? And let me know what you all in Africa think down below because your voices really matter. Let's watch more Sam George.
Today, the 28th of February 2024, after 3 long years, we as sponsors, the 8 of us, the Honorable Emmanuel Kwesi Bedra, the Honorable Della Soa, the Honorable Helen Ntoso, the Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dafia Mekpo, the Honorable Alhassan Suhini, the Honorable Rita Na Odole Soa, the Honorable John Intim Fojo, and myself, Honorable Samuel Nate George, have, with the support of the Right Honorable Speaker and majority of the membership of the House, successfully brought a close to the 3rd reading of the Family Values Bill and Human Sexual Rights Bill 2024. It is our belief that this will be communicated from the Speaker's Secretariat expeditiously to His Excellency President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-addo. It is our hope, our prayer and belief that President Akufo-addo will be a man of his words and stick to the words he spoke to the Anglican Church in the Eastern region when he said, under his watch, LGBTQ will not be established. When he gave assurances to members of the clergy that he was going to ensure that anything that promoted LGBTQ will be dealt with. There is nothing that deals with LGBTQ better than this bill that has just been passed by Parliament. We expect the President to walk his talk and be a man of his words. We're grateful to the media and will continue to work with you going forward in the sensitization of the public. As sponsors, we once again want to reassure the media that you are partners in this battle and in this struggle. The intent of the bill has never been to gag your Chapter 12 rights. We respect your rights to editorials, but you and I all know that editorials are different from advocacy. And so your editorial rights to issues on the subject of homosexuality, issues on the subject of Ghanaian family values, would continue to be protected by us as sponsors and the Constitution of the Republic.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Nardi George, he came out with it. He didn't hold back any punches. Said he was going to write a bill. He made a bill. He said he was going to get the bill passed. He got the bill passed. It's out there. And he's calling out the president right now to sign it. He's also calling out whether you're a puppet of the West or whether you're the president that you told the people that you are. This is huge because if he's a puppet, he's not going to do this. He's going to take the money from the United States to keep this LGBTQ thing going. Akufo-addo is now on the chopping block. He is literally on the puppet rack. Are you a puppet or are you not? Now, how do I say this without... It's easy for me to say things, easier for me to say things sitting in America at my desk. I'm reading my notes. It's easy for me to say, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. But it's harder. The hard part's Africa's. Africa has the hard part because they're the ones who are going to suffer without the handouts from the West. I'm not going to say you should do anything. I'm saying what I see Africa doing, what we see Africa doing is the right thing. It's the moral thing. It's the ethical thing. It's the keeping your family values intact over anything. Your freedom and your faith in that area is so strong. And the majority of the people of the world, I believe, are with you. The news and the media. Another story, which we're going to go into right now. Here's what Africa News had to say. And let me know what you think down below.
The passage in the Ghanaian Parliament of the so-called Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2024 is profoundly disturbing. The bill broadens the scope of criminal sanctions against lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, transsexual, and queer people simply for being who they are. We call for the bill not to become law. We urge the Ghanaian government to take steps to ensure that everyone can live free from violence, stigma, and discrimination, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity.
The bill was first introduced in Ghana 3 years ago. The West African nation is generally considered to be more respectful of human rights, but since the legislation passed through Parliament, international condemnation has grown.
And those are the stories we're hearing. International condemnation has grown. Now, before we get too deep into what they're calling international condemnation, let me just say that it's international media condemnation. International condemnation from the Western governments, from the European governments, from the whitewashed Canadian governments, the governments that are literally have sucked their hands into the media so deep in their pockets, so deep that they can have almost any media outlet in the world that they have a hold of say this, that the world is condemning this when the majority of the people in the world are applauding this with great ado. Right now, Africa is setting a new standard as the West, in what they're calling internationally criticized, is not being criticized internationally. Only international media criticized. But the people, the you and me sitting down, ones that go to work, putting our boots on every day, getting up and going to work, there's no criticism here. Ghana, stand up for what you believe in, because that's what the world is seeing right now. They're seeing a country that stands up for what they believe in, no matter what. They will not be puppets from what we see. Thanks again for watching, guys. I love you. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.